Welcome to the Power Up Live stage presented by Wärtsilä Energy Storage and Optimization. I'm Sean Swentek, Vice President Marketing, Omnidian. I am joined today by two industry heavyweights from Gould Group. Really excited to have both of you today. Can you quickly introduce yourselves and what you do at Gould?
Yeah, I'm Jimmy Haring. I am Director of Solar Development at Gould Group for energy and financial analysis. So I crunch the numbers on what savings are going to look like for commercial real estate portfolios and also ROI for our projects, and make an investment recommendation or disrecommendation as the case may be.
And I'm Gavin Dillion. I am the COO at Gould Group, and happy to report just started with the company on July 1st. So I am new to the renewable energy space. I spent over 2 decades in telecom, helping a little company called VoiceStream Wireless turn into T-Mobile and scale. And that's what I'm helping Gould do. This small company is on a rocket-like trajectory, and we need to figure out how to scale to support our customers.
Why energy efficiency and why was Gould Group created?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. Our CEO, Brian Gould, is a master of building relationships. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and started out doing LED retrofits and variable frequency drives, other upgrades at commercial real estate buildings. And at some point, I think a client asked, can you do solar? And Brian said, of course I can do solar. And sort of the rest is history as far as solar goes. We've really taken off from there. But that's in a quick nutshell. That's how Gould Group got started. And I think those relationships are really the sort of key to all the rest.
How much does solar, battery storage, EV make up the mix of your products nowadays when you look at it from the holistic view of energy efficiency, solar, HVAC, all that?
It's going to be about 90%, 10%. So it has really shifted to that space.
Excellent. Not surprised given the IRA and everything that's impacting that.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at your website, incredible list of clients you have today. What does an ideal client look like when you're having these meetings? What is it that you look for that says this is someone that is a great fit for us to work with?
Well, the first thing is they've got a need in the renewable energy space or energy efficiency space that we feel like we've got the core competency to match up and deliver. Well, we talk a lot at Gould about 3 certainties. It's execution certainty, quality certainty, and budget certainty. And when a customer has a need to deliver some sort of energy efficiency across that spectrum we talked about, we think we can go in and add value.
Yeah, I would also say, clients with a portfolio of real estate assets are also attractive to us because we want to build that relationship over the long term, and we want to add value across that portfolio. So if we have the ability to take a look at that portfolio and say, okay, we can go inside the building, we can do LEDs, we can do variable frequency drives, then we can do other improvements like solar or energy storage or linear generators, other ways to reduce energy costs, and then that elevates the value of the whole portfolio.
Are there certain sectors of real estate or corporate world that you're seeing are more ready to embrace sustainability initiatives? Or are you seeing it across the spectrum?
We're seeing it across the spectrum. With our customer base, what we have noted in particular is they're motivated by two big things. One is they've made public commitments to the street that they are going to meet some sort of goals, ESG or otherwise. That combined with the second piece, which is, hey, we need projects that are ROI positive, and we need help figuring out across our portfolio of hundreds of different facilities which are great candidates for making that happen. And that's where we begin with them to help them there.
So whether it's industrial, office, multifamily, you're investing across the spectrum with those types of clients. What about data centers? I'm seeing a lot of that. Have you invested in any data center clients yet?
We've not worked with any data centers, and just looking at the energy load of a data center, at this point we do primarily rooftop C&I solar. A data center is the load is not going to be impacted by that. So to do that, you need probably an offsite setup of some kind, or a lot of land connected to that building. And so far, that has not come across our plate. But I think we'd certainly be interested, to do that type of work.
Yeah, seems like a big opportunity. Given your background at T-Mobile, and you talked about scaling and being sort of that partner for growth, what do you think you bring to Gould Group as far as that and to your clients?
Well, the thing that reminds me a lot about my telecom days in the space we are right now is that the massive amount of disruption that is happening in this world. And when I first started, over 20 years ago in telecom, that was back when there were still landlines, long-distance calling cards, and then this little handheld device came out that completely disrupted that old monopolistic world. And that just injected huge amounts of change and opportunity for companies to go find value in different ways using these technologies. Same thing is happening here. Now, when you're going through that kind of change, there's a huge opportunity for chaos, inefficiency. Everybody's trying to figure it out as you go. And what you need to do is you need to bring standards to bear. You need to understand, okay, here's what great looks like for this type of solution and how customers can use it and benefit from it. And then you build processes and you build systems, management systems for ensuring that you deliver on those standards, those standards of excellence that are going to result in the outcomes that your customers are looking for.
Gould Group's been around for 10 years now. You've been through the ups and downs of fluctuating interest rate, policy, all that. What are you seeing today as far as preferred ownership structure? Is it own? Is it lease? And where do you see that going? And what is sort of the cost-benefit analysis that you look at with clients?
So our clients so far have been interested in owning the assets that we build. So doing cash purchases and viewing those as ROI projects for their portfolios. I gather that's a little bit unusual, that financing might be more common in the market as a whole. It really depends on what the client wants, whether they have a long-term perspective, whether they have the capital. You're going to increase real estate value either way because you're generating those cash flows over time. So whether that's through saving, an upfront investment and saving on your utility bills over 25 or 30 years, or whether that's just through nothing upfront and perhaps a smaller reduction in your savings in your OPEX at that facility. Either way, though, you're shifting the cash flows on that building and increasing value. So that's really the pitch we make. And we try to be agnostic about what the best approach might be because it's really going to depend on what the client's priorities are and what their values are. So we try to be flexible and able to do whatever's going to be best for the client.
It says a lot about where we've come on the solar coaster that these large corporate clients are willing to make that long-term investment in a sustainable future for their business. So personally, I love to hear that. I know talking to you both earlier, you were saying this conference is a great opportunity for you to engage with potential new EPC partners. What do you look for in a great partner and someone who's going to build these assets for you? What are sort of the the necessary deliverables they have to bring to the table?
Well, it's funny. We talk a lot about being a trusted advisor to our customers. We look for partners in the same way. Can we trust you? Can you be a trusted advisor to us? We don't know it all. I think that's a mistake that a lot of companies make when you're in a disruptive space, trying to win market share and make a difference. You try and be everything to everyone, and hey, we'll figure it out. We recognize we've got a few core competencies, things we do really well, and we need partners that can do other pieces of that value chain for the customer. And so we look for those folks that we can build that trust with. They're willing to give it to us straight, and that includes delivering bad news, just like we have to do sometimes with our customers. And that instills trust and enables us to move forward and work together.
Yeah, I think trust is the key word there, especially in our industry, right? People need to be able to trust the solution we're bringing. When I visited your website, I saw that trusted advisor. I saw terms like a fiduciary with this responsibility to the client. Your culture and your values are front and center on your site. Can you talk a little bit about that and sort of why that was built that way at Gould Group?
Yeah, I think it is about the relationships, recognizing that we're not in it for a short-term profit, but that we want to have these meaningful relationships based on trust over the long term. So we do a lot of upfront work to make sure that when we pitch a project to a client, we know that it meets their ROI thresholds. We know that it's actually going to be a good financial decision for them. And we have that trust that when we make those recommendations, we've done our homework, and they know we're not just trying to pull a fast one and build a project and get out of there.
Yeah, and I'd add one thing. When you think about these customers that we're doing work with, this is not an area that they're familiar with. They are purchasing assets that they don't fully understand, and they need somebody that can help them understand what it means to take this on and how to really generate the full value from those assets. And so that means having really open conversations, setting expectations really clearly from the beginning to the end. Hey, you're going to have a monitoring system on this. You're going to need to check and see if you're getting the production that you need on this. Hey, these things sometimes break, and you're going to have to get those fixed. And that's why we look for partners like Omnidian to come in and help with O&M on the back end.
Yeah.
When you're talking to a client, what objections or concerns, whether real roadblocks or maybe just a myth, are you hearing raised, and how do you overcome those or solve for those?
Well, one is not too sexy. It's kind of tactical, but it's about budgets. And if you think about the capital required to put these solutions in place, every business decision maker is going through the same kind of exercise, which is where is the next best place to spend my next available dollar? And it's not always an energy efficiency project. It's usually a revenue driving growth project. And so they want certainty. They want to understand that if we're going to spend this dollar, that return is going to happen. And we have faith that who we're working with is going to enable us to deliver that. They're going to set us up for success so that we can achieve that outcome.
I also think that there's not always a full awareness that there are these other options. We could do a PPA. We can do different types of financing where if they want to put their investment capital somewhere else, we can still do a project and still save them on their OPEX over an extended period at that facility. And getting more awareness about that there are actually a range of possibilities here, a number of options for structuring these projects on a financial level. I don't think there's a lot of clear awareness about that yet.
And you bring that expertise around the financial solutions to the relationship.
Yeah.
You mentioned it is a long-term investment. You mentioned the O&M need. What does it look like really for a relationship for you? What is sort of the timeline, and what are you guys building when you're with these clients? Like, to me, it sounds like it's probably a really long-term relationship here that they're investing in and that you're committed to maintaining.
Yeah, well, as Gavin mentioned, a lot of times clients will have publicly stated sustainability goals. So we're not just, sort of giving them random one-off projects, but also saying, okay, you have these goals. What would it actually take? How many projects would we have to do? How many megawatts would we have to build? What kind of investment would that look like? And this brings us back to, well, if it's, more than they want to spend, then it's like, well, okay, now maybe a PPA does make sense. Maybe we start looking at some of these other options. Yeah.
What's the secret to Gould Group's success so far?
You've been here longer. You start.
Okay. I think it's what we've already said. It's the people and the relationships and the values. Bringing those values of being a trusted agent, a fiduciary, and getting FaceTime with our clients. Having that time in person to get to know each other and to build that trust. That's my sense.
And I would elaborate a little bit just based on my first several months there. If you think about a relationship, any relationship you have with a customer, it's a journey. And it starts when they first get to know you, become aware of you. You go through a selling process. They purchase. There's actually a design, a build, construction, and then you got to operate this new asset. And that's a journey for a customer. And oftentimes, as I mentioned earlier, this is new to them. But there are these touch points during that journey. Some people call them moments of truth, where something goes right, something goes wrong. How you behave and interact with your customer and take care of your customer during those moments of truth it's essential. And Gould Group does that in an exemplary way. Again, thinking of ourselves as that trusted advisor, you react in a certain way when something goes south during that construction build, or that first break that happens on a roof that needs to be fixed. That's a moment of truth, and you need to make sure you deliver in a way that just blows your customer away.
Yeah. The best brands shine in the toughest moments, right? It sounds like that's what you've embraced. Do you have, Jimmy, maybe a favorite story, a customer success story that you can share, a case study or something that sort of rings true to all the things you just said?
Yeah, I mean, I know there was a time when we had a strange relationship with a particular client, and I think remaining calm and just continuing to show up to that relationship, even when there was not that was not being reciprocated for a time, continuing to show up and to demonstrate our the trustworthiness that we were aspiring them to believe in. I think that went a long way, and I think that we were able to restore that relationship and come back much, much stronger after having gone through that challenge. Yeah.
You've worked on a lot of projects, installed a lot of megawatts. Is there a favorite project that you've worked on or something that you look back on fondly as a really unique build or something you're really proud of?
Mine's an easy one because I'm so new. My favorite project is the one I was on last week. We went up on top of a customer's roof to check out a completed project, do a little QA, QC. And it was fantastic to see both the fruits of all the labor, but also to identify, we could make this a little bit better, and let's go tweak that, make sure the customer gets the full value. So it was cool to be up on a roof, actually seeing a working system.
You bring up a great point with QA/QC. How important do you see that to the process of commercial construction nowadays for solar? It's for us at Omnidian, it is like there's either you didn't do QA/QC and we see the difference in the long-term operation of that asset, or you did and you're able to solve those problems up front.
It's imperative because we are making a promise to our customers when we sign that deal. Hey, you're going to get this kind of value, this kind of production, this kind of energy efficiency and savings. And if you don't check your work and make sure it's actually delivering to those specs, you're going to have really disappointed customers. And you're going to be having one of those moment of truth conversations that ideally you don't have too many of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's essential.
Jimmy, I know Gould Group gives back a lot to the community. You have your organization, Light Up Hunger. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And
Yeah, Light Up Hunger was started in partnership with one of our largest clients. Basically, the idea was that when we do a solar project in a particular community, we would look for ways to give back to that community. So in collaboration with this client, we identify a local partner, usually a food bank that has a distribution center of some kind, and we'll go and do an energy analysis at that facility. In the past, we've done LED retrofits for those kinds of projects. And right now we have some old solar panels that are coming off of a facility that we're going to replace. So we're going to be able to have those available to do hopefully a few solar projects at some food banks as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
If we look to the future of solar, of the commercial real estate space, what do you think the future of sustainability in the built world looks like? If you can put on your future thinking hat for a moment.
Well, I give you my new guy answer, and this may be too idealistic, but I feel like I see a world where you've got more and more, whether it's companies, entities, facilities, independently generating their own power. And obviously we're not there yet, and there's challenges to overcome, but just looking at all the innovation I've been seeing in my limited time, it feels like that is imminent in the future.
I would agree with that. It seems we've encountered a number of cases where a facility, either existing or new construction, just isn't able to get the energy they need from the grid. So building, distributed generation for them, microgrids, things like this, it seems like that's going to be really important.
I would imagine this allows a corporation, a business owner, a commercial real estate owner the ability to protect themselves against climate change disasters and fires and flooding and things like that. Is that what you're seeing driving this?
It's a big part of it, but it's also just grid infrastructure is also very limited. In terms of sustainability, I think there are also, lots of different ways that companies might generate renewable energy in addition to just putting solar on a building. But it's sort of being explored at the moment. Yeah.
Speaking of the future, there was a presidential debate last night. Is your team talking internally about if it goes one direction or the other, how that might affect your business?
Yeah, I think everybody's talking about that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Your thoughts on it?
Well, I just came out of a session where I thought there were really pragmatic views offered from. There was an individual from the IRS, someone from a major accounting firm, people who are deeply vested in what the outcomes would be, and there's kind of a spectrum of thoughts. One is that the feeling is this isn't going to be rolled back immediately, and so the worst case scenario I don't think is going to happen. But there will likely be some changes, and companies are going to have to be nimble and be able to react and adjust as needed. But I think there is a ton of momentum, and there's so much value being added across the board, regardless of whether you're blue or red, that is going to carry the day. There may be changes, there may be some painful changes, but I don't think we're going complete rollback.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone. I think when you look at it objectively. So hopefully, as Gavin said, that will carry the day. Yeah.
This conference opened with Abby Hopper and someone from Paris as well, having this conversation, and that political component played a part. And I think Abby's done a great job of straddling both sides of the line and selling it as really an economic benefit, a labor benefit. And I really love that perspective. And it makes me think about two of the big issues facing the industry overall, labor shortage and prevailing wage requirements from the IRA. How are you looking at that? Because you work with EPCs in many different areas of the U.S. Is that affecting your business in a large scale, or how are you addressing that today?
It's absolutely directly affecting it. In fact, that's one of our current operating projects is, hey, how are we going to take care of and make sure our customers are compliant? There's all sorts of guidance that's been released. That's going to take resourcing. It's going to take process. It's going to take documentation. And so we're going to have to adjust and build that capability into the company's tool set, if you will.
Excellent. If anyone wants to get a hold of either of you from Gould Group at this event or after the event, best way for them to contact you?
GouldGRP.com is our website, and also LinkedIn is a pretty reliable method as well.
Yeah.
So Gould Group is at Gould, GOULDGRP.com. Jimmy, Gavin, I really appreciate you coming on today and meeting with me. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.